Welcome back to another episode of the Rewind Rewatch podcast. My name is Joel.
My name is Andrene.
And we are siblings that... Why'd you make that face? What's that
because
face
of
for?
you.
What?
Because of you. Welcome back.
I didn't sound like Daffy Duck.
Suffering succotash.
I didn't sound like Daffy Duck. I didn't sound anything like that. Welcome back.
We're siblings.
This is a podcast where my sister and I rewatch 90s movies, and then we get on here and we talk about it for like an hour, and we discuss what we thought of the movie, important points or parts that stuck out to us, thoughts on the characters. We decide what we think the theme of the movie is meant to be, and then at the end of each episode, we give each film a rewind rating from 1 to 5 based on how likely we are to rewatch the movie again in the future. Today, we will be discussing a Spike Lee joint from 1998, He Got Game, starring Denzel Washington and Ray Allen. And we were talking last week when I picked this movie about the fact that we're getting closer to episode 100, and somehow this is the first Denzel movie.
Shocking.
Okay. Thank you. Well, since you're so talkative,
Before we get into that, I want to say who actually requested the movie and all that. Come on, you're trying to jump ahead. This was requested by Tanea.
Shout out to Tanea.
Shout out to her. So speaking about Spike Lee and how this is a Spike Lee joint, what is your favorite Spike Lee movie?
So, favorite Spike Lee movie has to be Malcolm X.
Okay.
I mean, Malcolm X is like one of my favorite historic figures.
Mm-hmm.
Read his book a couple times, and I feel like whenever you're doing a biopic, especially of somebody that is that famous, I feel like it's very easy to screw it up. And man, he nailed it. Like, he nailed it. Denzel nailed it. It's a very long movie, but I feel like a lot of my favorite movies are very long.
Mm-hmm.
Just because they kind of just, you don't feel how long they are. I remember when I saw Dark Knight, which is definitely one of my favorite movies, and I was sitting there in the theater and it ended and I was like, it's over already? Like, I wanted more. So yeah, Malcolm X is a movie that once you get into it, like, you completely lose track of time. Like, you're just completely just sucked into the narrative and the characters, and that movie is my favorite.
Okay. Mine is probably, I guess, the one that most people think of, but it's got to be Do the Right Thing. I feel like when I watched as a kid, there was a lot of things that either went over my head or I wasn't really understanding the purpose of what was going on. And then I recently rewatched it maybe like 3 years ago. And I was like, oh, this movie is really good. Like, even like the whole last scene where like people start going crazy and they end up like, trashing Sal's pizza place.
Yep.
And when I was younger, I was like, why would they do this? Like, why are you like smashing things in your own neighborhood? And then as I grew up and started realizing what was going on, it was like, just the frustration was building throughout the film, where it was just like, we can't lash out the cops. Obviously, they just killed someone. So what can I possibly do? And then, of course, like with Sal, they had a whole like friction there because like he only had like Italian Americans up on his wall, and they're like, you're in a black neighborhood, you're not recognizing it. And like a lot of things I didn't understand as a kid. As I got older, I was like, this movie has a lot of layers to it, and I really enjoyed it. Now, Spike has other things like Mo Better Blues, Jungle Fever, She's Gotta Have It, which ended up being a TV series at some point.
We don't talk about that show. It is perfectly fine to pretend as if that show never took place.
And when I think of Spike Lee, I think about the Knicks, because how can you not?
Yeah, of course.
Go always Knicks. Singing courtside, always rocking a Knicks shirt, jacket, hat, whatever, pants. He's huge in
Very ridiculous outfits. Yeah. Let's be clear. He wears very ridiculous outfits. Bright orange glasses. Like, nah, he's Knicks. He's Knicks down to his bones.
Through and through.
Yeah.
All right, so moving on to Denzel, since this is our first one. I'm not going to list all his films because we'd be here for the full hour.
Well, let's go. I'll ask you the same question you asked me.
Oh.
What would you say is your favorite Denzel movie?
Oh, man, that's That's a hard one. I don't. So, like, as far as best movie all around, I know yours is probably going to be Malcolm X because you already said
Oh yeah,
that
yeah.
you like Malcolm X. So there's that. There were so many of his films that I really enjoyed. Like, I enjoy watching him in, like, John Q. Like, the fact that he was this father who was trying to protect his son.
I am not gonna bury my son. My son is gonna bury me.
John Q's a banger.
Yeah, you really believe that, like, he was doing whatever he could to save his son's life. You could relate to that. But then I also really like, American Gangster is great. Flight was fantastic.
Yeah, Flight's
Like,
crazy.
Flight is really good. Oh, okay. Talking about performances,
Yeah.
Fences.
Yeah.
That might be up there for me. Like, that movie is like a masterclass in how to act, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, and he did it on Broadway, so he knew it.
Mm-hmm.
And so this is like a crazy aside. We haven't even started talking about this movie yet, but August Wilson play Fences, and I don't know how familiar are you with August Wilson and his works? Not really.
Not really.
So August Wilson has a bunch of plays that are all kind of like loosely connected because they all take place in, I want to say Cleveland. Don't quote me on that. They all take place in kind of the same area of America.
Okay.
But each of his pieces is in a different decade. So he has like a play from like the 1920s, the 30s, the 40s, all the way to like the 90s, I think. And I believe they are planning to make movies out of all of them. So they did Fences, they did Piano Lesson, that was also his. Ma Rainey's Black Bottom.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So you notice like they're all kind of in different eras.
Yeah.
I saw in a local theater in DC, I saw Radio Golf, which is the one that he did that was set in the 90s. So yeah, I think what they're trying to do is make all of his plays, because he has since passed. They're trying to make all his plays into films, and I think Denzel's one of the big people behind making it happen.
Gotcha.
And so I think a lot of the people who have been in those movies have already done the plays on stage.
Fair enough, yeah.
So yeah.
Makes sense. Washington had Philadelphia and The Pelican Brief, both in 93. He also had Courage Under Fire as well as Preacher's Wife in 96. And then if you want to move on to the 2000s, he had Manchurian Candidate and Man of Fire in 04. Then he had Deja Vu and Inside Man in 06. So it's like he has a few years there where he's putting out like huge movies, 2 within 1 year.
Well, that's funny that's what you noticed, because I was looking at his filmography too, and what I'm noticing is, specifically in the 90s, how many films he made with Spike Lee.
Oh, yeah, there's a bunch.
Mo Better Blues in 1990, Malcolm X in 1992, and then this movie is 1998, He Got Game, and then is Devil in a Blue Dress Spike
yeah,
Lee?
I was going to ask,
sure.
is that Spike Lee movie?
No, that's not a Spike Lee
Okay,
movie, so it doesn't
okay.
count. All right,
Okay.
So give us your one-sentence summary of He Got Game.
All right. A convicted murderer is temporarily released from prison in order to get his super talented high school basketball son to go to the governor's alma mater.
Yeah. So he's basically out. They basically are like, yo, we're going to give you a week to convince your son to go to, was it the governor? The warden?
I think it was the governor's.
It was the
governor's alma mater, and they like created this school called Big State.
Right.
That
Big
was the
State
name.
University. He's like, yo, he really wants your son to get in, so do what you can. And the governor, he's a good guy. Like if you scratch his back, then he will scratch yours, and he could get some years taken off your 15-year sentence, of which he's served about 6.
Yeah.
So he still has 9 more years left in prison. So he's like, all right, like, let me try to do this. And we know that his son, who's played by Ray Allen, is a star senior. He hasn't decided where he's going to go for school yet.
Everybody's pressed.
So, yeah, let's just get into it, because as I'm watching this movie, and I should preface this by saying I've only ever watched this once before.
This is my first watch.
So okay, so this is your first time. This is my second time. I remembered very vague things about this because it was a while ago. But one thing that really stood out to me watching it this time was I feel like this movie was really making a point about how star athletes, especially at this age too, are basically just seen as commodities. They're just commodified. They are by friends, by family, by girlfriends, just everybody's trying to get their piece of the pie. And he's popular, he's famous, he's really good at basketball, but it feels like everybody around him has an ulterior motive. And so it was interesting just seeing how much that world of being a star athlete at the age of 17, 18 years old, and you're getting thrown all these temptations, and all these people are trying to have their own little directive that they're trying to pull you in. And he's just a kid.
I know. It's terrifying to think of. I was watching this kind of if I was in his shoes, what would I do? Because back then, you could go straight from high school to the NBA.
That's true.
They hadn't yet changed the rules.
That's true.
They require you to have 1 year of college now? How does that work?
Yeah, you have to do at least 1 year, or you can go overseas and play for a year. But you have to, you can't come straight out of high school. Okay.
But back here in the 90s, you absolutely could. And so on the one hand, it's you could go straight to the NBA and start making bank tomorrow. And these agents are these sports agents, oh my God, they're trying to throw cars at him. Look at this big house you can get. And this car, costs basically $300,000 if you want. And I can get you all these girls and this big pool and all these things. Versus, so that's one choice is going straight to the NBA. The second choice is, if you do decide to go to college, what college are you going to go to? And all these different coaches are trying to get
the biggest choice of your life, son.
Oh my God. I just could not imagine. Everyone is where are you going to go? Where are you going to go? His girlfriend keeps asking him. His coach at the school keeps asking him. And that coach is kind of shady.
They're not just asking.
And it's bro, everyone is under his behind to get the answer. And he is not your typical high school senior in the sense that he has basically taken in his little sister and is her guardian pretty much, because his father is in jail for killing his mother. And
which they don't tell us right away.
Right.
They ease into it. We know that he's in prison first. Then we learn that
he has
the
son.
Mother's gone. Then we learn that him and his son are estranged. His son wants nothing to do with him. And then we find out why.
Yeah.
So they kind of stretched it out a little bit to kind of keep you as a viewer as what's actually happening here. And I like the way that it was not
the
thrown
first
in
thing
your
you
face
see.
at the beginning. How we talked about with The Bodyguard, that it was zero exposition. I feel like this movie had a little bit more of it had more appropriate pacing.
Absolutely. And then it's initially the kids were living with their aunt and uncle and cousin. And for some reason, that's really not made clear. He says that he doesn't want his sister growing up with his uncle. And I was like, what's happening there? Why did he feel like his sister couldn't live in the same space as his uncle? That made
That's interesting. I didn't read it that way.
That?
But that he does say that, and I did not. That reading of it did not click in my head. I was looking at it more so as he doesn't really respect his uncle. His uncle is another person who's trying to get his slice of the pie. He references Godfather 2 when he says, I need to wet my beak.
Yep.
And he's like, wet your beak? What are you talking about? He's like, Godfather 2, the black hand. The dude was the black hand. I'm your Uncle Bubba. I helped raise you and your sister. And so basically, the mom dies, the dad goes to prison, and they're living in this project housing in Coney Island, Brooklyn. And the aunt and uncle and the cousin live in a neighboring apartment complex within the same projects.
Yeah.
So they're alone, like they have their own place, but you get the sense that the aunt and uncle are kind of helping to raise them and probably also paying their rent because he doesn't have a job. And we also understand that there is some shady thing going on with the coach who's like sliding him money under the table and stuff. So it's like he's not. I have questions about that entire dynamic.
Yeah, I didn't think the aunt and uncle were helping them pay for anything. I feel like once he moved out, like that's where the coach's money came in.
Okay.
Because the uncle even says to him, like, how are you affording on this lifestyle?
That's
like,
right,
blah,
that's
blah,
right,
blah.
that's right, that's
and
right.
so the uncle thinks, like, you're being offered all these things and you're not sharing it with me who
Right.
helped raise you. Like,
Right.
where's my cut?
Yeah.
And the aunt is kind of like, honey, like, stop. What are you doing? Because they offer you cars. And he's like, bro, no one offered me anything. I'm trying to figure out what school I want to go to. And the uncle's not really having it. But yeah, I think I was confused by that because I was like, bro, how are you paying for this rent? Because yes, it's in the projects and it's not that's not crazy expensive, but you're still a kid.
And you have no job.
Right. All you do is play ball and go to school. But then the coach at one point asked him, like, where do you think you're going? Because the deadline is like fastly approaching the following Monday. And he's like, Coach, I honestly don't know. And he's like, do you know now? And pulls out like 10 G's. I was like, what in the world?
Yeah, it's crazy.
And the coach says to him pretty much like, we have like an understanding, like he's been giving him money. And I didn't really understand because it's like, what are you getting in return for paying this kid money? I didn't really get why the coach was paying him at all.
Yeah, so the way that I understood that is the coach is probably being paid by a school to convince the kid to go there.
That makes more sense.
So it's like, yo, like I can give you this money and then we'll have a conversation and we'll talk about where you're going to go next year.
Gotcha.
But he's like, I'm not going to touch this bread. And I think the part that I was confused about, and I got to say, shout out to Spike Lee because Spike Lee is definitely a basketball nerd. He loves it. And there's a lot of things that he does in this movie that I'll get back to that I really appreciate it as a fellow basketball fan. Mm-hmm. But shout out to him because I feel like he does a really good job of just showing not only the pressure, but like how shady the college recruitment process can be. Mm-hmm. And the fact that you got to think about like, you're taking a lot of like poor kids who have never seen money, who are talented, and you're just like throwing stuff in their face and being like, come here, no, come here, no, come here. We see what happens when he goes on his recruitment trip to Tech U with Rick Fox. So it's like, I feel like the movie did a really good job of like showing like, all right, you have this 18-year-old kid who's really good, who could make your program millions of dollars if he comes to your school. Mm-hmm. How are you going to convince him to show up when the first semester starts?
Right.
What would you do? So then it's like, yeah, some people are going to try to convince him with women. Some people are going to try to convince him with cars, clothes, cash. Some people are going to do
mansion.
all three.
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, like, yo, we're going to take care of you. Back to the uncle and the aunt. Yeah, like, I kind of felt what he was saying when he's like, yo, like, you're trying to sit here and convince me that you're not getting money. How are you paying for rent? How are you doing this? How are you doing that? How are you getting groceries? Like, you don't come ask me for money. And I know you're not working, so what gives?
Yeah.
Like, you're BSing me. He's like, no, I'm serious, Uncle Bubba. It's like, nah, you're not serious. You're very unserious, bro. And I think the thing about Jesus, which is his name, Jesus Shuttlesworth.
Oh, we're gonna talk about that.
Yeah, we'll have to talk about that. I don't know how that didn't even come up yet, but Jesus seems to be very straight-laced, and I actually felt like he was so disciplined and ethical that I found it almost to be like not really believable. And I'm like, yo, how many high school seniors would like turn down bribes from their coach? Yeah. And I'm not saying that he shouldn't have. I'm just saying that like you've created a relationship with this person, you trust them. Mm-hmm. They're like a father figure, especially since you don't really have a father. You don't really trust your uncle either. And then this guy comes to you and says like, yo, this is in your best interest. Granted, he's being shady as hell.
Yeah.
But I feel like it would have been very difficult for a kid that age to even recognize what's happening. And when you have a trusted adult throwing money at you, then it's like, all right, well, this is my coach and he loves me. I thought that like between the coach and the girlfriend and this dude named Big Time and like
Big Time is my man.
All these people who are like just like throwing bribes at him, yo, nobody's gonna know about it. And he's like, yeah, there's nobody here, but it's still illegal. And I'm like,
oh yeah, meeting with the agent? Yeah, that was a lot for me.
I just don't know if I'm buying it.
There's also a big part of it that I don't think you address. It's the fact that this guy has lived his entire life in the projects and doesn't have money. So it's not like, okay, I live in a comfortable home where I'm like middle class, upper middle class. I don't really like quote unquote need the money. It's like, bro, you've lived in poverty your entire life. And now people are throwing all this money at you and you're going to be like, nah?
And probably have been.
Yeah.
Like not even, now it's even ramped up even more because they want you to go to such and such school or they want you to sign with such and such agent. But I'm sure he was probably getting recruited and wined and dined sophomore year, junior year as well. So, yeah, he was just like so straight-laced, disciplined that I was like, I don't know if I'm buying it. Also, Ray Allen's just not good.
Oh,
right?
bro.
Like, he's also a really bad actor.
There were so many parts of this movie where I was just like, I don't believe you. Like, perfect example is the scene where his little sister, she's getting ready for bed and she's talking to him and she's like, well, you know, where are you going to go? What are you going to do? And he's like, I don't know yet. And she's like, you're not sure? He's like, I don't know yet. And she's like, well, my friends were saying like, if you go to the NBA and get signed, then I could drop out of school because like we'll have money and I'll be good. And he like goes up to her and like tries to like shake her. And he's like, don't talk like that. If I ever hear you say that again, I'll kill you myself. And I said, the bodyguard?
Nah, that's crazy.
He said, I'll kill you myself. I was like, that was very extreme, number one. But number two, like his face like didn't match what he was saying. And I was like, Ray, come on. Like, you're not even mad at this girl. I don't even believe it.
Nah,
like,
Ray has no chops. And it's crazy because I was telling my girlfriend after the movie, I'm like, yo, the movie was pretty good, but Ray Allen was awful. And she's like, yeah, he's an athlete. Like, they're not
what do
good
you expect?
at it. I'm like, yo, you're actually kind of right, because Michael Jordan's really bad in Space Jam,
what about
too.
Rick Fox?
Rick Fox,
he was on the game.
Rick Fox was on the game. Rick Fox was not terrible. I'm like, there are a few that can do it. Like, Blake Griffin's really good on screen. I think that there's, like, a difference, and we were having this conversation about like the difference between like athletes trying to act versus musicians who, to be fair, are kind of already acting.
That's very
like
true.
they kind of have to have this persona that they're using whenever they're on stage, where like a baseball player just has to be able to swing a bat. Like, it's not the same level of
putting on a show.
Like, that showmanship is not really the same thing as an athlete, where you don't really have to talk.
That's true.
To entertain people. Versus like a professional wrestler, on the other hand, those people are actors. Like, they're doing acting.
Talking about that show? Was it called Unreal or something?
Oh, well, yes, but I mean just like just in general, like wrestlers are doing bits for the most part. So like they can, John Cena or The Rock can get on camera very easily because like that's what they've already been doing, versus Ray Allen, who shoots jump shots.
Fair enough. So,
but yeah, he's really bad. So that was the other thing. But then it's also, okay, you're turning down bribes, you're not taking money, but you've still been like taking favors from your coach. So even if you haven't been like literally picking up $10,000, you've been having him pay for things. You've been having him handle this thing for you. And he's like, yo, remember when I did this and you had that issue and I got rid of it and you wasn't able to pass that class that you needed and we made sure that you got a passing grade. Like, don't act brand new on me now, dogs. And that was kind of confusing for me because I was like, well, this doesn't really seem aligned to like everything else that we've seen from this character where like now he's all buttoned up, but it doesn't seem like he had been up to that point.
Not at all. And
that was Uncle Bubba's point. Like, yo, break me off something, bro.
Yeah, he's definitely holding back Uncle Bubs.
Uncle Bubs.
Uncle Bubs was definitely... All right, so let's talk about this name. Because the names in general, I was listening to them talking and I was like, okay, so the athlete's name is Jesus. His sister's name is Mary. And his mom's name was Martha. So I was like, this is very like...
I mean, it's not the first time Spike Lee's been on the nose. Like
I said, okay, he's the savior of basketball.
Yeah, he is.
And so as the movie progresses, there's one scene where Jake, who's played by Denzel Washington, and Jesus are talking, and Jesus makes a comment about how he absolutely hates his name because growing up, kids always made fun of him. They actually have this short flashback to like his mom leading out the window and saying, Jesus, it's time for dinner. And the kids are like, Jesus, Jesus, ha ha ha. You know, because of course, if you're a kid and that's your classmate's name,
of course,
this is not Jesus.
This is joke time.
This is Jesus. Like,
yeah, it's joke
like
time.
Straight Hard J Jesus.
Hard J.
Yeah, Straight Hard J
Not
Jesus.
the Hard J.
It's the difference. And it's like, bro, this is your name? And so he basically says to him, look, I actually didn't name you after the Bible, Jesus. I named you after this player. His name is Earl Monroe.
Earl the Pearl. Knicks legend.
And basically, like, he was called Black Jesus.
That's right.
So I missed when he said, like, the name, like, Earl Monroe. I missed the name. And so I was trying to, like, Google, like, who was...
So you just Googled who's Black Jesus?
No, so I sent you this Google document. I need you to pull this up.
Oh no.
So
this is gonna be stupid, guys.
And I'll post this on Instagram this weekend. But I Googled Jesus NBA to like see if they would, show me like who it was. And so, the images pop up on the bottom and I start seeing the images and I start laughing to myself. So the first image is a picture of
oh my God.
The white Jesus. He's wearing a superstar jersey. He's dribbling a ball and it says, give it your best shot.
Yeah, it looks like the old like Phoenix Suns jersey.
Yes.
But it just says superstar.
Yes. So that one gave me like a light chuckle. The second one made me bust out laughing. It's Jesus and he's crossing Satan.
Yeah, he's crossing Satan up. Satan got his ankles broken.
Satan's about to fall down on his ass.
This is a photo I've seen before because this is a very popular internet meme of Jesus crossing up Satan.
I've never seen this before.
But yes, this is also not Earl Monroe. It is not.
And then the last picture that I had to put because I was like, this is hilarious.
No way. Bruh. It's
Jesus wearing this like white, almost like a toga type outfit. It says Jesus Christ on it. He's about to dunk on Satan.
He got on some red chucks.
Mm-hmm. But
he's ripped.
Yeah,
I mean, Satan's also pretty ripped.
Yeah. They're both very muscular. There's a crowd of people watching.
But it looks like Israelites. Like it's not like a modern NBA crowd. Like it's like they all are wearing like, old day garb. Like it's like they're wearing Passion of the Christ outfits.
They got the toga joints on.
The toga joints. Satan is just wearing briefs.
Well, yeah, you gotta show his trust.
Yeah, he doesn't have a jersey on.
No,
hell is not in Hell's. It's not in Hell's budget.
He's Satan, bro. He doesn't need it.
He doesn't need it. Jesus needs it.
You gotta represent.
Jesus shows off his pecs anytime he gets a chance. He's dying and we see his abs.
That's true.
When he's dunking, we don't get to see them.
You see his arms though.
Yeah, I mean,
but the funniest part of this picture is as he's getting ready to dunk the ball on top of the picture. It says he is risen, but it's not spelled R-I-S-E-N. No. It's spelled R-I-Z-Z-I-N because Jesus has all the riz.
He is risen.
He is risen.
Oh my God.
I busted out laughing. I said, I gotta show this to Joel.
Oh God.
So I'll post this on Instagram for you guys to see this. But anyway, so all that to be said, Earl the Pearl actually was someone that Spike Lee consulted with when making this film.
Mm.
So he wanted to make sure that, of course, the movie was true to like basketball and like how people would play it. And so a lot of like the technical scenes, Earl the Pearl was sitting right next to Spike. And he was like watching it and like telling him like, no, do this to make sure that it looked.
That's fire.
Which is why when you mentioned that, like, it from a basketball perspective, it looked like they were all playing ball. They were all pretty good. The camera angles were done just so. He had someone consulting him who knows the game to make sure that it came out that way.
Yeah, Earl the Pearl is, just if you're not familiar, like he played in like the 60s and 70s. He spent some time with the Baltimore Bullets before coming to the Knicks and helping them win their last championship in 1973. Unfortunately, we need another. But he was known for being like an improvisational player. So he was like really good ball handler, would just catch his defenders off guard, fancy layups, crazy jump shots. Like he was just very creative. But the thing that I recognize, even right from the beginning, the opening credit sequence is literally just showing people playing basketball all over the country.
I love that.
So you see like, kids in like farmlands in Indiana and kids that are in Venice Beach and kids that are in New York City and people playing 2-on-2 in their driveway and women's leagues, co-ed leagues. And I think it really did a good job of like setting the tone of like, this is a sport that people love all over the U.S.
Yeah.
Regardless of how they grew up, what they look like, what gender they are, what race they are, what their socioeconomic status is. It's a game that is kind of that has grown to the level that everybody, not everybody, but it has like this wide appeal nationwide.
Oh, yeah.
And I
huge.
think it also then kind of contextualizes when you have a star. It's not just the fact that they're good at this sport. It's the fact that they're good at a sport that all these different people play. And they're the one that stood out.
Yeah.
Number 1, number 2, number 5 in the country, whatever he was. And all these people play basketball, but you're the one that everybody wants to come to their college. So I thought that was a cool way of kind of showing like the globalization of the sport, but then shrinking it down to this one kid.
Yeah, it was great. And even in addition to showing all of these regular people playing ball, we're able to see Jake for the first time in the prison yard, and he's balling. And he's nice. Like, he's making all these shots. And we're able to learn later on that he's the one who made Jesus as good as he is. Because he was pushing him and pushing him and pushing him. And when you're watching that scene, like, there's a part of you that's kind of like, bro, like, you're being way too hard on this kid.
Push me. So what? I push you. So what? You gonna get mad when you get pushed? What, you gonna quit when you get pushed?
Off.
Take your shot. I can take you out your game that easy, huh? So somebody gets up on you. So what? So they get up on you. So
Stop
what?
pushing him, man.
You
Stop
have to
pushing
deal
the
with
guy.
that, son. You mad? What's gonna happen? That's all the play got to do to you is make you mad, huh? All you gotta do is make you mad, and you'll give up, won't you? Because when you get mad, you can't play. Because when you get mad, you can't make a shot. Look at it.
Like, at one point, one of the other guys
The local wino.
was kind of just like, yo, like, lay off him. Like, be easy.
Don't tell me how to parent my son. All right, you stand there.
Pretty much, yes. But then I started thinking, like, when you think about, like, Venus and Serena and, like, to be
Tiger
great.
Woods.
Yeah, to be great, it's like you almost need those parents who are doing a little bit too much, because otherwise, how do you become the best at anything?
Yeah, I have a lot of thoughts about this, and I know that people don't probably always agree with me on it, but I remember like watching the King Richard movie with Will Smith, and I don't know, just watching that movie, it just made me very uneasy, because it's like, on the one hand, yes, this man created Serena and Venus Williams.
Right.
Serena's the greatest women's tennis player of all time. And like, Tiger Woods is another example of like, yeah, your parents basically pushed you to to your limit as a child so that you took it seriously enough to become as great as you are.
Right.
But I feel like on the one hand, yeah, that's nice. But then on the other hand, it's like kids have to be kids. Like, I don't know. I feel like you're like also projecting a lot of your own wants and needs onto this child who, yeah, when they grow up, they'll say, yeah, I always loved playing tennis or I always loved, playing basketball. But it's also kind of like all they knew. And yeah, they're going to say they love it now because they're really good at it.
And they're rich.
Right. But then it's like, there's probably a bunch of parents who have done this to their kids that we don't hear about.
Right.
And their kids just hate them now. I don't know. I on the one hand, I get like the whole like, I'm going to invest in my kid and I'm going to make this. But it just feels like you're imposing your own direction onto them, where it's like, if I'm 8 years old, I can't really say like, this is what I want. Yes. So it's kind of like you're projecting your own ideas into my future, which I feel like, I don't know, I think it's too controlling.
Well, in the same vein, what did you think about like soccer leagues in other countries, right? Because don't they start training these kids like from the time they're like in elementary school and have like clubs for them? Yeah. And I'm pretty sure it's not like, oh, summer camp soccer. Like, I'm pretty sure they're like training them.
No, yeah, they're training them. The professional teams, like because I watch English soccer, so I know that system the best. But they'll sign kids to like contracts, quote unquote, when they're 6, 7, 8 years old. They still go to school, they go to primary school, whatever, and then they go to training. And as they grow up, they kind of just tail off. So some kids just don't make it, and maybe they play for Chelsea when they're 11, and by the time they're 14, they don't make it.
Right. So it's like siphoning them off.
Yeah, but then, if you make it all the way up, now you're on the under 18s, you're pretty good. Like that's like basically like a college player in the States. You get to the U21s or you actually make it to the first team, then like you're like a legit player. So I get what you're saying in terms of that parallel, but I think, I don't know. I feel like football in England at least is very like universal. I don't know how many kids are there because their parents made them. I'm sure some of them are. I'm sure some of them are like, hey, I want to play. My friends are on this team. I want to play with them. But I don't know. The level of training, I think, is also different if you're getting it from a professional versus like my dad's waking me up at 5 a.m. so I could go shoot hoops and practice dribbling with my left hand.
But is it though? Is it different? Like, okay, forget about soccer. Let's talk about gymnastics. Like, that's insane. Like, they take these, mostly girls, I guess boys do it too, but mostly girls, from a very young age, you got to train. Yeah. And they're doing it, like, all day, every day, like, so much so that, like, it actually, like, stunts your body growth. Like, yeah. And it's like, but if you want to be the best, if you want to make it to the Olympics, if you want to get gold or even place or make it to the American or whatever country team, you have to train this hard. Like, this is just part of it. And I don't know how many of those girls are like, this is my dream. Or it was like, oh, this is fun and I'm pretty good at it. And then their mom is like, or their dad is like, yeah.
Well, now, you're good. So now you're going to have to keep doing it.
That's what so it's like,
and that's what I don't like.
I don't know.
That's what I just don't like the idea of kids being pushed that hard. When you're an adult, or even when you're in high school, like, you make your own choices. You could do what you have to do. But yeah, when you're a kid, it's like you're not making your own decisions. So I just don't. I don't know. It makes me uncomfortable.
Fair enough. But all that to say that, like, we're able to see that, like, Jake is actually really nice because there is some talk when he goes back to see Jesus in, like, his old neighborhood where people are basically like, yeah, he used to be, like, maybe not as nice as Jesus is now, but he was, like, the basketball guy back in the day. And so he's able to kind of pass along what he was able to do to his son because after, of course, he got arrested for the murder of his wife, they pretty much had to wrap him and he, was locked up. So, I mean, wanting to pass on your passion to your child is one thing, but also, like, you're seeing that this child is extremely talented. So I think it's part of it is like, yes, you're nice and I want to sow that seed. And it's also like, I want to pass my legacy on to you. Because, I mean, at the end of the day, parents want their kids to do better and be more successful than they were.
Sure.
So it's like, if I'm playing ball and I'm nice for the hood, I want you to be nice, period. Like, I want you to go far.
And I understand that. I think, and this goes back to what I was saying earlier, is like, everybody wants a piece of the pie. And I feel like if I am training my kid to be a great basketball player or tennis or gymnastics or whatever, like, am I just doing it because I'm ambitious? Or am I doing it because I'm like, oh, this kid can make us rich? And that makes me just feel, it feels kind of gross to me.
Yes, or maybe a third part
like
is
commercializing your child.
Maybe you're also trying to live vicariously through them.
Yeah,
because think about like those dance moms, those like pageant moms. You're not getting a ton of money from that. It's just like, oh, maybe I want to be in a pageant and I wasn't insert whatever enough, tall enough, small, pretty enough, whatever. But my daughter has all of the things that she needs to be successful in this particular thing, and so
but it's still about you.
Fair enough.
It's not about your daughter. It's about you.
Okay.
This is a random wheel yank, as our dad would say.
Mm-hmm.
But his team, his high school team. So he plays for Lincoln High School in Brooklyn. Popular basketball school. He's in Coney Island, which is like a big. I feel like the setting is a big part of this movie. There's various moments where he goes on like the Coney Island boardwalk and he's hanging out with his girl, having sex on the Ferris wheel.
Yeah.
And they mention in the movie that Stephon Marbury, a former NBA player, is from Coney Island.
Mm-hmm.
I believe he also went to Lincoln, as well as his, I think his little cousin, Sebastian Telfair, who also made it to the NBA. All that to say, his teammates, or the teammates that they have in this movie are NBA players.
Yeah.
They were NBA players at the time when this came out anyway. So you had Travis Best playing the guard, and then they had Walter McCarty, which I remember he played for the Celtics for some time, and then John Wallace, who spent some time with the Knicks.
Yeah.
And then the other one was just Hill Harper, who's not a basketball player. He was just there.
An actor.
And that was the one that played his cousin.
Yes.
He's like significantly smaller than everyone else on the team because he's the only one of them that isn't an NBA player.
Well, speaking of just like basketball players, so as far as the casting of Ray Allen, one of the things that Spike was looking for was, first of all, obviously a really good basketball player, but also someone who would be committed to the film because they had to shoot this film during the off season from the NBA.
Right.
And you got to think about it, like they're playing ball. It's not like I'm just like shooting a movie on my off season. It's like, no, you have to actually play this and be very technical. And what if you get injured during the off season?
But all these guys are playing during the off season anyway. So I mean, yes, but that would be better than him not playing basketball for the entire off season. I feel like he would get rusty,
Oh, he didn't do anything, you're saying?
Yeah, like, oh, I'm just shooting this movie. It's like, dude, you didn't work out. You didn't put shots up. So I feel like he was able to do both. He's basically working
but he had like no time off is what I'm saying. Like he took his entire off season and was filming this movie. Whereas other people might have been like, yeah, I got plans, or, it was like, no. So basically like you work for the entire year playing ball, you shoot this movie, and then you go back to playing ball.
Yeah.
Like there was no space, but it worked out for him, I suppose. All right. I want to talk about this girlfriend.
That's exactly where I was going to go next. So yeah, kick us off. Lala.
So
Lala's
Rosario Dawson. When I think about Rosario Dawson, I think about the 190s movie that we will never cover on this podcast, which is Kids. For those of you that don't know, I watched it once years ago, and I will never watch it again. It's very jarring. It's very dark.
Yeah.
It's very cringe. Like the whole time, I'm just like, it's just disgusting to see these kids acting this way, and it's ugh. But anyway, that was her first film that she did. And in this movie, she plays this girlfriend who's Puerto Rican. And she basically is being like kind of wined and dined by this sports agency. And they're basically like, yo, if we can just kind of get into the ear of Jesus, like we can kind of talk him into trying to sign up for the NBA. And they were like super like putting contracts in his face, like, oh, just sign this right here. It's like, bro, no lawyer reading over anything. Like, just sign this here and we got you.
He doesn't even have a lawyer.
And it turns out that she's, having sex with one of the agents, and she's basically like lying to Jesus, saying that this guy is a family friend who happens to be an agent who's looking out for his best interest. And Jesus finds out that she was, taking money from these agents to kind of like, in return the promise that he might sign with them. Now, what was your take on that? Like, did you feel as though what she did, I mean, yes, morally it was wrong, quote unquote, but like, do you understand why she did it? Do you think she was messed up for doing it? Like, what was your whole thought on that?
Nah, yeah, she was definitely trash. I was surprised by it. Like I said, I seen this movie once before. It was probably at least a decade ago, so I didn't really remember the details. And I did not see it coming. Like, I did not predict his girl to be a cheater. But it gets uncovered fairly early in the movie, I think within the first hour. And I was like, oh, okay. What I thought was going to happen was like their relationship was going to get pulled apart because of he's basically like moving on.
Oh.
And like she, so then I feel like, I had this high school girlfriend and now I'm like going to a big college or whatever. And we're going to kind of like there's going to be a chasm in our relationship. And what she basically does in the movie is like, she just hedges it. Like, she's like, I realize that this guy is basically about to leave me. We're probably not going to last. He's going to make a bunch of money and I'm going to still be here in Coney Island. So let me try to like take advantage of the fact that my high school boyfriend is about to go big time and let me get my cut from it while I can before this eventually dissolves.
And why shouldn't I get paid? Huh? Why shouldn't Lala get something out of this? Everybody else is.
I can't even believe this. I really can't.
Will you believe it? I believed you when you said that you would never leave me, Jesus.
She's certainly not naive in terms of like, she has no assumption that they're going to stay together.
Right.
But at the same time, like you said, the way she goes about it is definitely mad grimy and she's lying to him and cheating on him. So
for me, it was the I love you while the other guy is like playing in her hair. I'm like, okay, that's too far. There's something about like she reaches out to be like, oh, Jesus, like, I love you. And it's like, you're about... She
calls him at 1 a.m. after she finished having sex with another guy to be like, yo, I couldn't sleep. I just had to give you a call because I really want you to meet with my friend. Like, what? It's 1 a.m.
So I was like, all right. Like, first of all, the minute she said, like, he's a family friend, I was like, nah. From the beginning, I knew it was cap. Like, I did not trust her at all. It just... I don't know, my spidey senses or what, but I was just like, the way she said, like, oh, it's a friend of the family, I was like, nah, she's lying. But like you said, like, I mean, she's definitely not naive, and I think she understands. She's like, I'm not going to be your high school sweetheart when you go to the NBA. Like, I'm going to be stuck here, and, like, this is my first real opportunity to actually get some type of money. And you got to think of, like, how bleak her life is and where she thinks it's going to go. So it's like, if I can get some money and secure it, I'm gonna get some money and secure it. And also, like, she's in high school. Like, thinking back to, like, Andrene in high school when I had boyfriends, bro, I was trash.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm like...
You know that.
I can't blame her for that.
But that doesn't... You like, can. She's still, like, yeah, just because you were trash, she's like, also trash. Like it's not, like, better. It's
high school. I'm not gonna marry you, bro. Like, I'm gonna try to come up. You're gonna leave. Like... But
this is the thing, like...
I don't...
There are guys.
Do it.
There are guys in the league that married girls from high school, girls from college.
But let's not forget, your man was out on a freaking weekend banging some busty blondes.
Yeah.
Okay, so.
And I think
I
think that's also the other part of it. Like, if you are.
Say it.
Well, I was just gonna say, like. If you're Savannah James and you've married like LeBron, who y'all like have known each other since high school, and Now he's like the biggest, hottest thing since sliced bread.
Mm-hmm.
Are you like going into this with your eyes open? Yeah, like are you like
You're going in like, bro, I'm gonna get this money, and like whatever happens, happens.
right?
Like,
So
that's
then
the
it's
way
like
I see
it's
it.
like I don't think she's going to be like, LeBron had a road trip to Miami
He
and
had a threesome.
What
Yeah.
if some stuff happened? Like don't ask, don't tell.
Right.
Has built a very comfortable home for us here.
Well, maybe
We have generational wealth.
well,
My
maybe she
parents are
didn't want
good.
that.
Our kids are good. Like, I don't know how upset she could even really be, especially in this movie, because she was cheating on him too. So I don't even think that was even like a part of it. I think for her it was just more so like, he's gonna leave me. I don't think she was worried about getting cheated on.
I mean, he probably would.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. I don't think what she did was all that crazy.
So then Uncle Bubba's the same then. I mean, if you're not mad at Lala, you can't be mad at Uncle Bubba. But the fact
Uncle
is,
Bubba thought he was lying about other schools. The schools weren't paying him. Like, I don't think these schools were out paying him. But
he has no reason to believe that that's true. If you are basically getting your rent paid for and all these other things, and you're passing calculus even though you can't do math, and like, all right, bro, like I know something's going on, so stop lying to me. Uncle Bubba has his eyes open, so it's
Yeah,
like, and this
fair
is
enough.
the thing. The bad part about it though is, I'm like, yo, there is not a single person in this movie that seems to actually be looking out for this kid and his future, except for his little sister who is completely dependent on him. But like,
It's
whether it's
sad.
his girlfriend, his uncle, his father,
His coach.
head coach, like everybody is basically trying to use him to see what they can get.
well, you know
And the
what?
whole premise of this movie is his dad trying to use him.
So what about this character? What was this guy's name?
Big time?
Big Time. So was he like an agent? Like, what was this guy? But he basically
I don't know.
he gives Jesus and his cousin a ride to school.
Mm-hmm.
And when they're in the car, he's basically like talking about all different ways that he might be taken out based on, his fame, his publicity, his talking about like, first of all, you have like people are going to be offering you drugs all over the place. You can get whatever you want because you're going to be this famous
Alcohol.
athlete. Alcohol is another one that talks about gun violence because, of course, the alcohol led to someone getting shot over craps. Then you had STDs from sex because like girls are going to be throwing it at him, which he already saw when he went to college with Rick Fox. And then lastly, he mentioned bloodsuckers. It's going to be like family members who want your money, people
from around the way,
who
yeah.
are just like, oh yeah, like I
The
need money
dude that
for
I know
this.
from middle school.
Yeah,
It's like,
your
yo.
long lost uncle. It's going to be somebody popping up who needs money, and he's talking about like once you become famous, these are all the things that can possibly happen to you. And I felt like that was very important to kind of give like a context of like this is what he's thinking about when he's trying to decide, do I go to the NBA or do I go to one of these other schools? And it's kind of unclear as to if Big Time, like what he really wanted from Jesus. He gave more of a warning more than anything.
So Big Time is kind of like, he seems to be like a reputable figure in the hood. He has a nice car. He has nice clothes, jewelry and stuff. He's doing something to make that money.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's like the neighborhood dope boy. I don't know if he's like a booster who like is like a middleman who just kind of gets people, I can get in with these kids and I can influence them and then I get a percentage. Like he could be one of those type of guys. It wasn't really clear, and he only has one scene in the movie. I actually found the character to be a little bit ridiculous, but I did like the message.
Yeah.
I felt like the scene was more valuable than
The character.
the character that was narrating.
Agreed,
It was
agreed.
like, I'm just using this person as a mouthpiece, and then we're never going to see him again. But it was obviously Spike Lee trying to like get this message across. And he just used Big Time to do it. But
So speaking of Spike Lee and messages, when Jesus goes to college for that weekend with Rick Fox and he's showing him around, and like these white girls are like coming out of the woodworks, like Like, I mean, like literally, like out of nowhere, they're making out with Rick Fox and then turning around and then kissing Jesus. I mean, they're like beyond open, like
kiss
beyond,
Jesus.
like beyond open. And so they're sitting down at this table and they're talking. The girls go to another table and Jesus says to him, like, yo, like that's cool and everything, but like, where are the black girls? And he's like, yeah, I mean, like I prefer them too, but like, you know, black girls make you work too hard. Mm-hmm. He's like, the white girls, they'll wash your dirty drawers. You can talk to them any type of way.
Do whatever you want.
You can drive their dad's cars, whatever. And like, they'll just be down.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought it was interesting that he included that in there. Because I feel like when I was an undergrad, like, I feel like there were some guys who would say stuff like that. Like, oh, like, black girls are like, you know, too hard to deal with. And it's like, what? Like, why are we too hard to deal with? Because we're not going to wash your underwear? Like,
because you won't let a man walk all over you.
And again, this is obviously like generalization.
Yes, of course.
But yeah, the whole idea of like the snow bunnies are like the easier get.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what they show in this movie. It's like there was not one black girl, apart from his girlfriend, and she was Hispanic, but there was not one black girl.
His sister was the only black girl in the movie.
Yeah, even in the college, that was like fiending over these guys.
Yeah,
I thought it was interesting because I'm like, I'm sure. I mean, clearly, there's definitely some black girls that are definitely gonna be down.
Well, so you're saying like, why did he do that? Like,
maybe he's just trying to like big up black women, which is not something that we ever really get in movies.
I thought it was two things. One is you're taking black kids from like majority black and Hispanic neighborhoods. Specifically, if they grew up in New York, L.A., Atlanta, Jersey, like, you know, certain parts of the country where they're going to be surrounded by black people. They know how to play a sport. Now they go into like basically white ass college. So now you're going to be like surrounded by these girls that, number one, you've probably never even interacted with, and number two,
and vice versa.
And so they're interested in you, you're interested in them. So I think that's a part of it, like the cultural divide that makes it like intriguing to like sleep with your first white girl or whatever. The other part of it that I think is, I thought that whole like narrative was kind of like he was making commentary about athletes.
Yeah.
Like why, like athletes, you often see them like
with white girls
in college, or they have white wives when they graduate, or they end up going to the league and now they have a white wife, and this is this woman that they met in college.
Is it the whole like I've arrived situation? Like they feel like this was unattainable to me. No, I'm saying to them, like it was unattainable to me before, and now I have access to them because of my wealth.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. I think that's a way loaded conversation that would take us somewhere completely different. But yes, that is definitely one way to read it.
Yeah. So one part of this film that I think was completely unnecessary was the Dakota of it all. Dakota.
I was about to say
Mila Jovovich.
Jake and his son both like white women.
So Mila Jovovich, who we saw in our Fifth Element episode, she's perfect. She plays this sex worker who lives in this apartment. It's like this, you know, rundown place in the hood where they have placed Jake for this week. And we see her.
She's drugged in. Like,
she's often getting beat up by her pimp / boyfriend. And Jake is kind of like, you know, why do you let him, you know, do this to you? And, you know, and she's like, well, first of all, like, he provides me work. I'm one of his best workers. And also, like, I love him.
Right.
And, you know, he pays to have her for a few hours. He's like, you're off the clock now. And he, like, pays all this money because he got the money from the cops to, like, buy clothing or whatever. And he ends up...
and he buys Jordans and a prostitute. So
yes. What else are you going to do?
Well, I guess.
He's been in jail for 6 years.
He hasn't had sex in 6 years.
Yeah. So, you know, he buys her and...
The two things he's been craving.
And they have kiss on the mouth sex.
Sex and Jordans, baby.
And, but it's like now they're like, have this thing where it's like, he's like, oh, pretend that this is real. like take your wig off and like
Yeah.
let's be real, like be like an actual person. Don't be like this persona.
He gives her permission to let her guard down.
Yes. And so they like,
which she appreciates.
Yeah, they have the whole night together and it's lovely and it's nice.
Yeah.
And then the next time we see her, like at the end of the movie, she's on a bus. She's wearing her real hair. So I guess now she's no longer a sex worker. And now she's
leaving New
York and going somewhere. But like it's unclear as to where she got the money, where she's going. Like I felt like getting to that part, I was like, so she spent this one night with this guy who was a nice John. And like now she's just leaving. Like I didn't really need any of this. I'll put that out there. I didn't really know why she was there.
Yeah, I'm not really sure what the point of her and the pimp, like what was the point of their character. On the one hand, I'm thinking, okay, maybe he's doing this to kind of show like the type of people that would be living in a place where cops would hole up an ex-con. So like maybe this is all commentary about like the criminal justice system and like, yeah, we're going to go stay at the nice hotel and you got to stay here where people are basically like picking up hookers and doing drugs.
But they could have just had one scene showing her like...
Yeah,
like
now
him
why
beating
did
her.
it become a whole subplot of
Yeah.
him like becoming friends with this woman? I don't really understand. And then, yeah, the ending of her like leaving and embarking on a new journey for her life didn't really make any sense. Or is it's like,
and I didn't even really care.
What
What
does this have to do with the rest of this movie? You're like, why?
I was like, why is she here?
Yeah, it didn't really make any sense. All right, so we want to talk about this one-on-one scene, though.
Oh, at the end, yes.
Yeah, so
this
basically,
is giving Love and Basketball for
at
me.
the end, he's like, "Yo, I know you don't want to listen to me, but he basically tells him like what's going on. Like, I need you to sign with Big State. This is gonna help me commute my sentence."
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't really want to hear it. He blames his dad for killing his mom. Which, I mean, his dad did kill his mom. It was an accident, but he was there and saw it happen. So that's jarring. And he's like 10 years old at the time. So anyway, he's like, yo, how about let's play 1-on-1? And if I beat you, then you have to sign to Big State. And if you beat me, then I'll be out of your life forever and you'll never hear from me again. So he's like, I just got to beat you in hoops and you're out of here? Like, let's go.
Perfect.
And Jake comes out a little hot. Like, Jake hits a few shots. You know what I'm saying? He starts talking. But the whole thing is, he used to always beat his son because his son was like 12 when he got locked up. But his son has gotten so much better since he's been in prison and is Ray Allen. So he's like 6'5". So all it took was Jake like missing a shot. And I don't think he got the ball back.
Yeah.
It was just like,
I'm
I'm about to just run it up now.
It's over.
I'm going to do whatever I want to you. I feel like, I don't know if this is a part of your facts, but I feel like I've heard stories about this scene being like real. Like they were really playing.
I didn't get that, but what I did find from my facts is that Denzel played junior varsity at Fordham University. Like he actually balls.
Okay.
So it's very possible that it is real because he can actually play ball.
Yeah. Because like you could see at the beginning, Ray Allen's kind of playing off of him, and he hits a couple shots from deep, and he starts drawing off, and Ray Allen's like, "What are you talking about? Like, get out of here!" And then as the game progresses, you can also see that like it's Denzel, and this is an NBA player, and he starts to get tired. Like, and he's also like 25 years older than him. And then he's just like, oh, like, what happened? Like, you was talking all that, da-da-da. So I feel like a lot of this scene was just, like, improvised. Don't quote me on that, but I feel like I've definitely heard that before. And it's definitely intriguing. Like, it's definitely... I enjoy it a lot more than the one-on-one scene in Love and Basketball, which is also pretty funny when he dunks on her. But, yeah, this scene is really cool. Like... If I see this scene, I'm gonna like watch it to the end. Like it kind of draws you in.
Yeah, so he bodies him, and
then the parole officers show up like, all right,
time to go.
Time's up, buddy. Let's go. You're going back to prison. You didn't get him to sign the paper.
He didn't. And then he says to his pops, take your old ass back to Attica. which actually made me laugh really hard.
That's crazy.
And he leaves, he goes back, and then they have this big like decision day,
Yeah.
which is giving me LeBron vibes.
Yeah, but
when
this
he had the
is
decision.
this is what high school kids do.
Yeah.
And then they pull the hat and they say, "I'm going to University of Oregon."
But instead, he didn't do that. He wrote a letter and had his coach read it, and he said he wanted, to have privacy at this time for him and his sister. And he does, in fact, decide not to go to NBA, but to go to Big State. He said he was able to find a middle school nearby that his sister could go to. So he's thinking about her and her education, what was good for her. And also, he probably is not ready for the NBA yet because of all the things he was warned about. And we find out that Jake's at the jail. The warden tells him, like, yeah, he decided to go there. And he's like, I don't know what made him decide to go. But he's like, well, what happens now? Like, he's going to Big State. Like, do I get out? And the guy's like, well, technically, he didn't sign the agreement. Like, you didn't
get him to sign.
You didn't actually do it.
He decided on his own.
But, like, the governor, he may still, keep you in mind, but, like, it may take time. And so I took that to be like, is he actually going to get him out?
Nah,
I don't think so.
He's out of here.
I think he's going to serve the rest of his time there. And then at the very end, you see Jake's in the prison yard and he's shooting around. And then you also have Jesus by himself in a basketball court.
At Big State.
Yeah. At the very end, Jake throws the basketball seemingly like over the yard, over the gate of the prison. And then you see like the basketball like lands like in front of where Jake is.
Mm-hmm.
And as I'm watching this, I'm like,
inside the gym.
Yes. So it flew out over the prison and then it landed inside the gym where he was. But I took that to be like earlier on in the film when he was trying to push his son to play the night that the mother was killed. Jesus got so fed up for his dad, he threw the ball over the fence and was like, I'm done playing basketball, and storms off. And in this scene, I think it was kind of like him throwing the ball was Jake, I guess, passing the torch to his son.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of like, well, now you take it. I'm pretty much stuck here, but now you've made your decision. You're about to live your life. And I am now passing on, I guess my hopes and my basketball skills to you to move forward and to be a man and to, do your own thing and live your own life. It was a little corny, but
yeah,
it got the point across.
Yeah, I thought the ending was a little weird, and I had to chew on it a little bit. But I think it was supposed to also, along with what you said, like it was kind of supposed to show how they'll always be connected through basketball. Because it's like, all right, my dad's in prison for another 9 years, and I'm about to like start my career as a college freshman. But I'm also here because of my dad. Like my dad showed me how to play basketball. So it's like no matter how much he tries to distance himself from his father, so much of who he is still always going to be connected to Jake. What did you think of his decision to go to Big State?
I figured he was going to, particularly when his dad got handcuffed. I just figured he's probably going to end up going to Big State anyway. It just seemed.
But why do you think he did?
I'm not sure why, because like I said, he like pretty much laughed in his pop's face and decided he wasn't going to sign. So it's like, why did you wait until afterwards to decide to go there? That wasn't as clear to me. I think going to college in general made sense to me after he realized like everybody is out me for the money, and maybe going to the NBA isn't the best choice for me right now. But why he chose Big State over the other schools really wasn't that clear to me.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't really get that part of it.
Yeah, I was thinking about that too. And a part of me is thinking, and this is a bit of a guess, but like, maybe he, doesn't really want to have like a personal relationship with his dad, but also maybe still felt like understanding the accident of it all, and like maybe he does still feel like he should be out of prison. His dad was, I don't know if I'd call him violent. I mean, he was pretty aggressive.
He was very aggressive. That scene kind of scared me when he yoked him up. I was like, bro, what are you about to do to this little kid?
Yeah.
Like, he's 12, bro. Like,
yeah,
it was
so
a
he
lot.
was violent.
It was a
violent.
lot.
And
he drank a lot back then.
I also feel like I don't know. I kind of got the sense that like I'm not really ready to forgive him, but if I go to Big State, it'll help him out, and that will be my way of giving something back to him since he's given me this, basketball skill.
Fair enough.
And he doesn't know that the prison's gonna screw his dad over, so he probably does feel like
he's gonna get out.
He'll be able to get
that
out,
makes
and
sense.
I can move on.
All right.
Theme. I told myself I was gonna come back to coming up with a theme, and then I never did. So I don't really have one ready.
Do you want me to go?
But I can pull something out of thin air. I do feel like just even talking through this for this episode, like a big part of this movie was definitely this idea of like, number one, who can you trust? Who can you depend on? And family is obviously important to Jesus. He's still mourning his mother. He is basically taking care of his sister. And I feel like I feel like he would have loved to have a close relationship with his dad. He just can't forgive him for this mistake. He just can't. Yeah. And so there is something here about like family dynamics, but also like, who is your family? Like his cousin Booger, he's family. I thought Coach was family, but Coach is not really family. I thought Uncle Bubba was family, but maybe not. So I think that's kind of the big theme. And then obviously like just the entire world of sports entertainment and the pressure that it puts on each of these kids. Every person who's gotten to the NBA has had some version of this happen to them.
Yeah. So I had pretty similarly, it's a cautionary tale to young athletes, basically to be mindful as to who you keep close or who you take advice from, because there's so many traps that the world has set for you when you come into money and fame at such a young age. There also is this redemption arc because, as you said before, at the beginning, Jesus wants nothing to do with Jake. But then by the end of the film, it's like, although I don't necessarily want to talk to you, I do wish you the best. Because even in that letter that he gives to the coach to read about his decision, there's a line in there about like how he wishes the best for his pops or something like that. So, and he would not have said anything like that an hour before in the movie. So, there's that. All right, let me just quickly give you like 3 facts. Number 1, it was intentional for Spike Lee to have the black toe Air Jordan featured in the film. That shoe came out in 97 and the movie came out, 98? Yeah.
So they were new probably when they were filming.
Right. People call them apparently the He Got Games or the Denzel Washingtons.
That's funny.
There is a scene where Jesus is watching Shaq and Dick Vitale. They're talking about him. And above the TV is a Slam magazine cover with Jesus on it. So that was funny. And then
he's going to be huge, baby.
Yep.
PTP, primetime player.
His voice is very recognizable.
Dickie V, baby.
And then lastly, apparently Alan wanted a sequel, but Spike said that Denzel had told him that he would never do a sequel. But he ended up doing like 3 equalizers.
Wow.
So maybe he might revisit that down the line. I don't know.
He got older. The industry switched up on him. He said, "I'm gonna have to pivot myself. I'm gonna have to do some different things."
All right, time for the rewind ratings for He Got Game.
Yeah, I feel like the first time I watched this movie, I feel like I was a bit underwhelmed by it. I thought it would be a little bit better, and I was like, wait, what? And I think the end also just kind of blew me with the basketball falling in the middle of the gym. It's like, this physically doesn't make any sense. But I think watching it now, I liked it a little bit better than I did the first time, and maybe some of that has to do with like high expectations versus low expectations. Like the first time I watched it, I was like, this movie's gonna be great, and then I was like, And then the second time, I'm like, I don't remember liking this that much. And then I was like, oh, this movie is actually this movie's not that bad. So yeah, I thought Denzel does a great job. Ray Allen does an awful job. So there's that. I mean, it's Denzel like basically carrying all of their scenes
It's just
together.
funny the way you said it. Denzel does a great job. Ray Allen does an awful job.
Ray Allen's like he's getting carried by the little girl who plays his sister.
You're
Like,
right.
everybody's just doing a better job.
Yeah.
But he did his best. I'm gonna give this 3 rewinds. I'm gonna split it right down the middle.
Okay.
I think there was a lot of nice choices. I also think like one thing I did not mention is the music. On the one hand, I liked a lot of the musical choices. I think the way that he interspersed basketball with like jazz and classical music really helped to draw out like the fluidity of the game and just like how beautiful and poetic it can be. Like elegant, like basketball can be very elegant. And I think usually you see basketball with like hip hop music behind it and or rock music, but like having those musical choices playing to basketball clips, I thought was really cool.
Yeah.
My only gripe, and this is a gripe that I have with a lot of 90s movies in general, is that there is music playing constantly through every single scene. It's like, bro, every scene does not have to have music playing in the background. Like, y'all can tone it down a little bit. But yeah, I'm going to give it 3 rewinds.
You know what's funny about that? You talking about how every scene has music behind it. And you're right. I noticed it when Jesus was talking to his girlfriend. There's like this like cinematic music playing in the background as they're talking. And I'm like, this feels weird. But I've recently been rewatching The Wire, as you know. Mm-hmm. And I've noticed that The Wire, generally speaking, only has music if it's like playing from someone's car radio. Or it's the music
Wire has no music.
Yeah, it's only playing like in the actual scene. And I was like, this feels so real. It's like I'm actually on the corner, like just walking down the street and hearing these sounds. So it makes it feel that much more real.
Yeah.
So I feel like watching The Wire and then watching this, I was like, whoa, there's a lot of music here. It just stood out more.
I always noticed it too, because like as a viewer, I don't know, I always prefer less music. I feel like it draws me into the scene more, like you said. Like it makes me feel a little bit more grounded. And the music makes it feel like, okay, I'm just watching a movie.
Right. So this is my first watch. I had heard this movie wasn't that great. And so I think like you, I went into it thinking I was going to hate this movie.
You might have heard that from me.
I don't know.
Maybe, I don't know.
Maybe my husband as well. But watching it, I really was like, oh, this isn't a bad movie. I really enjoyed all the basketball clips and in the opening scene. I thought that was great. They even have a scene with Ray Allen and like his team members from high school, and they're like, playing around with the ball, introducing themselves. Like it was just fun to watch as someone who enjoys basketball as a sport. And one thing that I feel like we didn't mention as to why I was thinking about he decided to go to college versus going to the NBA is that he mentions throughout the movie how like his mom really valued education. And I think that was something that was like giving this message to kids that like, hey, like you may want to think about getting your education first before thinking about this pipe dream. In this situation, yes, we're talking about sports, but this could apply to someone who wants to be in the music industry or do something else. It's like
YouTube influencer.
Yeah, it's like you can maybe do that on the side or like finish your education first, because if this doesn't pan out, if you get injured, something happens to you, what are you going to fall back on? So I think a lot of the messaging there about, warning you about drugs, warning you about STDs you can get from girls, from all this stuff, like it's good messaging here, So would I watch this movie again? In a few years, I might fire it back up to give it a second watch. So I'm going to give this one a 3.2.
Ooh, you try to Price is Right me?
I did.
You try to add the extra cent?
$101.
Yeah, come on, dog. Try to add the extra $2 at the end.
A little bit more than three.
Let us hear from you and tell us what your rewind rating for He Got Game is. We can be reached via email at rewindrewatch1990s@gmail.com. We are on all the streaming platforms. We are on all the social media sites. Mostly a lot of posting on TikTok and Instagram. But yeah, hit us up. Let us know what you think of this movie, what you think of this episode.
Don't forget our Patreon.
And yes, the Patreon page is still alive and popping. We post additional episodes in there covering movies from the late 80s and early 2000s.
All right, sounds good. Do you have any final words?
Do I have any final words? I didn't mention that one of the parole officers is played by NFL legend Jim Brown.
I have no idea who that is.
And he says he's making fun of Denzel for trying to get all buddy-buddy with the sex worker. And he's like, what? You don't think I get it? I understand. No poontang in 5.5 years? And I was like, I never thought I would hear Jim Brown making poontang jokes with Denzel Washington, but here we are.
All right, y'all. Later.
Adios.